Breaking news. An urgent update has just arrived, and you, the fan, will find out all the details now. But first, let me ask you something quick and super important. If you are not yet subscribed to the channel, take advantage of this moment and click the subscribe button. And of course, like the video. This really strengthens our work. We are here every day bringing you the main news about the Lions. Stay up to date with everything. Now, let's get to the news. In the NFL draft landscape, where every pick can change the course of a franchise, a bold strategy has been gaining traction among analysts, and the Detroit Lions seem to be right at the center of that conversation. On the most recent episode of the Locked On Lions podcast, respected draft analyst Nick Baumgardner floated an idea that, at first glance, may seem risky, but that makes perfect sense when we look at the construction of the roster led by Brad Holmes. In his most recent mock draft, Baumgardner projected the Lions selecting 2 edge rushers in succession, JT Tuimoloau from Ohio State in the 2nd round, and Josiah Stewart in the 3rd. That's right. 2 players for the same position, but with completely different profiles and roles. And it's no coincidence. It's strategy. According to Baumgardner, the inspiration came from what the team did last year with cornerbacks, when they took a chance on Terrion Arnold and Ennis Rakestraw. The idea is to bolster a needy position with complementary talents, instead of betting everything on a single name. This approach isn't just smart. It's bold, modern, and most importantly, consistent with the aggressive style Brad Holmes has been showing since taking over as general manager of the team. JT Tuimoloau is seen as the more physical edge who can be used effectively on early downs, especially against the run game. Stewart, on the other hand, arrives as a pure pass rusher, with explosive speed and the ability to make an immediate impact on obvious 3rd downs. Baumgardner draws a direct parallel between Stewart and James Houston, another player on the Lions roster with very specific characteristics to pressure the quarterback in well-defined situations. While JT could be the edge setter, who paves the way for Hutchinson to shine in more advantageous matchups, Stewart would be the spark of the pass rush, the guy who comes in to change the rhythm of a play. The combination of the two would bring versatility and depth to the defensive line, something the Lions are still looking to consolidate. The most interesting thing about Baumgardner's interpretation is the direct comparison with the approach used in the last draft, especially at the cornerback position. In 2023, the Lions selected 2 players for the secondary with different expectations. Arnold arrived to be an immediate starter, while Rakestraw was considered a promising prospect to compete for snaps at nickel. This formula worked not only technically, but also from the point of view of the chemistry between the players. They arrived together, created a bond within the locker room, and, according to reports, pushed each other in the process of adapting to the NFL. Baumgardner believes that repeating this scenario on the defensive line could generate similar results: faster development, a sense of unity, and even healthy competitiveness within the group of pass rushers, something essential to maintain a high level of performance throughout the season. Despite praising Stewart's selection, the analyst also makes an important reservation. He does not believe that the Michigan player is enough on his own to carry the weight of the edge rusher rotation. It seems like he needs to be part of a duo. I don't know if he's the one that provides everything the defense needs, Baumgardner said. This further reinforces the argument that the Lions would be right to invest in 2 different names to solve a chronic problem with more depth and intelligence. In addition, there is a physical factor to consider. Stewart, like Houston, is not exactly a giant, and that could limit his effectiveness in more physical situations, requiring a line partner with more presence against the run game. That's exactly where Tuimoloau fits in, offering balance and strength to complement Stewart's more dynamic game. Ultimately, Baumgardner's analysis not only makes sense, but it shows that the Lions are evolving in the way they think about the draft. It's no longer about plugging holes with a single pick. It's about building a roster with depth, diversity of profiles, and a strategic look at how the pieces will complement each other on the field. The idea of drafting 2 edge rushers back-to-back each with a specific role and well-defined potential, could be the next step in the team's defensive evolution. If they repeat the formula that worked in the secondary in 2023, Detroit's front seven could become even more daunting in 2024. And for a team dreaming of taking the next step toward the Super Bowl, every detail matters, including who gets after the opposing quarterback on 3rd and long. The future of the Detroit Lions linebacker position is far from clear. While the defense has shown significant improvement in recent seasons, there is growing concern behind the scenes about the depth and durability of this unit. Alex Anzalone and Malcolm Rodriguez, two key names in the current defensive scheme, are entering the final year of their contracts. This puts a spotlight on the need for reinforcements, not necessarily for the moment, but with a close eye on the medium and long term. The NFL draft thus emerges as a strategic opportunity, and even if the Lions have more pressing priorities to resolve in the early rounds, the third day could be the ideal time to scout talents that have everything to become valuable pieces in the future. In this scenario, one name is starting to gain traction behind the scenes: Nick Martin, linebacker from Oklahoma State. He may not be the most hyped prospect in the class, but his combination of production, intensity, and instinct make him a true gem hidden in the late rounds. Rated as a 5th rounder by respected NFL draft analyst Dane Brugler, Martin appears as the 15th best linebacker this year. A modest position at first glance, but one that doesn't reveal the full extent of his impact on the field. In 2023, he had simply absurd numbers: 140 combined tackles, 16 tackles for loss, 6 sacks, and 2 interceptions. A true engine of the Cowboys' defense, always present in the most important plays. Even in 2024, before suffering a right knee injury that ended his season prematurely, Martin was already showing that he hadn't lost his rhythm. In just 5 games, he accumulated 47 tackles and 8 for loss. His presence on the field was dominant, his nose for the ball undeniable. It's true, he doesn't have the ideal physical build for the position. At 6'0", he's below the standard that many franchises want, but he makes up for it with a tireless motor. He moves with impressive lateral speed and doesn't rest until the final whistle. This intensity makes him an almost automatic addition to special teams units, and a name with high potential to earn a spot as a weak-side linebacker, the famous Will. Dane Brugler reinforces this view, saying that although Martin doesn't have ideal size, his athleticism and quick reading of plays make him a safe bet. He may not be the player who arrives dominating defensive snaps from day one, but he's exactly the type of talent the Lions have a habit of betting on. Players who make up for physical deficiencies with intelligence, leadership, and unquestionable will. And this isn't just theory. Martin was a 2-time captain at Oklahoma State, which reinforces his maturity, commitment to the team, and influence in the locker room. These are highly valued traits within the culture profile built by Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes in Detroit. In a league where many promising players are discarded too soon because they don't fit the traditional physical mold, the Lions have distinguished themselves by seeing beyond the numbers. Nick Martin represents exactly that. A player who may not draw attention in the combine measurements, but who turns on the key when the game comes and delivers real production. With an aggressive mentality, reading ability, and the versatility to contribute early on in special teams, he could be the typical value pick on the 3rd day of the draft, the kind that no one talks about at the moment, but ends up being decisive later on. And with the linebacker position open for the future, Detroit would be the perfect environment for Martin to develop his game and become another solid piece of the franchise's new era. So, Lions fan, do you think Nick Martin could be that valuable find on the 3rd day of the draft that no one expects, but everyone needs? In my opinion, he has exactly the profile that Detroit usually values: dedication, leadership, and that drive that doesn't show up in the stats, but changes the game on the field. Even with his physical limitations, I see in him enormous potential to become an important piece, especially if he starts contributing on special teams and gains space over time. But now I want to hear from you. Do you think the Lions should bet on this type of player in the final rounds, or would it be better to focus on other positions? Comment below and I'll be reading and responding in general. Let's debate. Until next time.